last week was that 2025 World Junior Summer Showcase. We got a little mini tournament out of it. We saw a ton of Flyers prospects in action. I want to start with our neighbors to the north, the Canadians, and of course, the most recent sixth overall pick, Porter Martone. How did Martone look at the showcase?
He looked predictably very good as a player who he didn't play for them in the main tournament, but he was at the showcase with them last summer. So, like, technically a returnee. Um, he didn't get in for a ton of games. It seemed like they were prioritizing seeing some of the more bubble type of players, but he got in for 2 games and looked really good, very involved in play. Like the puck was seeming to follow him around a lot, and even if it wasn't always clicking for him timing wise, like the first game he had a couple of like was almost had a really good chance, but sort of like ran out of time, ran out of space. Like that happens sometimes, but um, was definitely trying a lot of things and looked a lot better in the second game when the bounces were going his way a little bit more. Um, and
I
yeah,
saw he scored on the breakaway. That was nice to see.
yeah, that was a really nice goal, and it was like pretty much exactly the same play he tried the day before and ran out of space and had to set up the actual goal from behind the net. Had to settle for an assist. But yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like first game things weren't like 100% there for him, but he really made it right in a big way by the second game, and um, feeling good about where he's at heading into the main tournament for sure.
So it does feel like he's kind of a lock. I mean, sixth overall pick, and
Yeah.
going going the NCAA route with which we were all maybe a little disappointed because it's like, oh, so we can't make the NHL, but that does give him a chance to play in the World Junior now. You think that's kind of why it was like, okay, 2 games and we'll see everyone. He's on the team,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, like they don't really need to see that much of him at this point. They know what he is, they know how good he is. It seems like he's going to have a big role with the team, which is exciting. But yeah, they've got a whole lot of players that they need to make decisions on. Martone is the least of their concerns.
One of the guys they may need to make a decision on, defenseman Spencer Gill. How did Gill look at the tournament? Because I think we're all high on his tools from what I've seen, from what I've heard, but not quite sure exactly where he fits on this Canadian blue line.
Yeah, I really feel for Spencer Gill because I thought he had a really great tournament, to be honest, but it seems like he's been kind of on the outside looking in for like as long as he's been eligible for the tournament. This is his last year eligible now, and it seems like they just have too many bodies ahead of him. It would have to be like just have an insane main camp to force his way onto the roster, unfortunately. But I mean, good news for us as Flyers fans. We got to see him looking very good against some of the best players in his age group this past week. I was really impressed on the whole with his like kind of detailsy game. I mean, he did get a goal in the first game, which was fun, I guess. But
Seemed like it just kind of seeing eye shot, like
yeah,
that gets stopped more times than not, but that time it didn't, and hey, they all
yeah,
count.
yeah. Really good, like sort of finer points of his defensive game, standing guys up the blue line, kind of negating rush chances, pushing them off to the wall. Um, Not flashy necessarily, but like I would say more of a mature game than we're maybe used to seeing in these kid tournaments like this. So really, really happy with what he was able to do there.
Well, maybe he'll have a big first half and kind of force his way onto the roster. That would be cool to see. And
Yeah.
what is his last year of eligibility? Jett Luchanko, being the age he is, I think he's eligible for like 3 more years or something. the kid doesn't turn 19 for a couple more weeks, I don't think. But
Yeah.
Luchanko was absent from the summer showcase. Still has, I think, a little groin injury. How do you think his absence kind of affects his standing with the Canadian World Junior team?
Probably not at all, to be completely honest. Having played for them last year, like he's another one who's pretty much going to be a lock for uh, this next tournament, which is fun, which is great. Um, I guess it's nice that he like has the luxury of being able to take the extra time, get the body right, and not having to kind of force his way into the camp trying to win a spot. Like he can just sort of be cruising right now, getting ready for the season.
And that'll be fun to see. It'll be an interesting story. If he does not make the Flyers out of camp, then, chances are he will be at this tournament over the holidays, and we'll get to see Jett Luchanko up against kids his own age, because we saw him, at 18 playing in a 20 and over league
Yeah.
in the AHL. We saw him in a brief stint in the NHL. This will be a chance to actually get to see him, because last year he was in a fourth line role. He didn't play a ton at
Yeah,
World Juniors. You got to believe now, at 19, he'll be in there. He'll be in a little bit more of a regular role.
definitely.
All right, I want to move to the American side. Jack Berglund and Shane Van Sagi. And I really, really appreciated in your write-up, which you can read on allphly.com. And if you're not a diehard, now's the time to sign up. $36 introductory offer for the year. You get all of our awesome premium content, including this write-up on the summer showcase. The Americans, Mertag and Van Sagi. I like the distinction you made between the two, and how maybe playing at a little bit of a higher level has Van Sagi ahead of Mertag, just for depth purposes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're two players that are really easy to lump together, especially like they're playing similar games. They spent a lot of the tournament on the same line. Um, so, but I think, yeah, definitely different outcomes for them a bit. I thought they were both still solid, but you could definitely tell against some of the more mature defenders, Murtag was having a little bit harder of a time. Both still like doing a lot of good things, physically engaged, supporting offense well where they could, even though they didn't get a ton of minutes. But I think the big difference there was you could tell that Van Sagi's just a little bit more mature, a little bit more polished in his game, having that full season of college hockey under his belt already.
Yeah, it does feel like, it makes sense. Like, if Mertag is just used to having a little bit more time and space, and Van Sagi has a year of, like, listen, there's 26-year-olds who play NCAA hockey. He
Yeah.
has been up against grown men, a little bit tighter checking. He has that experience. It makes sense that maybe he's a little more polished. It's not saying Mertag can't work on that part of his game, can't get there. Maybe he gets there with his first half of his season this year, but right now, all accounts are, yeah, if it's one of them, it's Van Sagi.
Yeah, and I mean, Murtag's going into a very good program at BU. That first half of the season is going to be big for him heading into their main camp in December. But yeah, well, I think he's still in like a pretty good spot. Like, I don't think he had a bad camp by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, maybe a little bit behind some of the players like Van Sagi.
Let's talk about those Finns. Heikki Ruohonen and Max Westergaard. What did you see out of the Finnish contingent of Flyers prospects?
Definitely very different situations there. I mean, Ruohonen as another returning player, like is in again seems like he's in a position to play a big role for them this year. Last year was sort of like a more defense forward, like middle of the lineup kind of role. Now they're getting him some top line minutes, top power play time, giving him a chance to like really showcase his offensive game. And I thought he did great with that extra runway there. Um, like I said, yeah, not really a guy that we're like, oh, is he going to be in the mix for a Russ? Like he's for sure going to be there. So the bar is a little bit higher there, but yeah, I thought he was great. He was definitely one of the sort of regardless of what pool you're focusing on, was one of the standouts of the tournament, bar none. Um, Westergaard, I thought was pretty good. This was his first summer showcase, so definitely at a very different spot in his sort of development career situation. Definitely had some like flash, but also got lost a little bit at times for me. Um, that said, like the Finnish team is not very deep.
They don't
this
seem to
year.
have the depth they have maybe in some years past.
Yeah, and I think I saw over at the Athletic, they did their projections for the rosters already. They have Westergaard making it, even with sort of like a just an okay camp. So um, definitely a lot of room to build. Still like a pretty good foundation, but you know, I think next year is when we're looking for him to like really make an impact in a tournament like this.
And that makes sense for the 18-year-olds, for the guys who were just drafted. Like, this is, especially when you look at the Americans and Canadians, unless there's a budding superstar, this is a 19 to almost turning 20 sort of tournament.
Yeah,
Like, I think of Cam York the year he won with the Americans. Like, I'm pretty sure the gold medal game was on his 20th birthday.
yeah,
Like, that's what this sort of thing is. Just getting your foot in the door at 18 is a good way to get going, because it is often a draft plus one, draft plus two tournament. Now, the Finns, the Swedes, maybe they don't have the depth that the US and Canada does, but a lot of times it's, yeah, this is, you're a year away, kid, and the fact that they have a guy they just drafted just in the mix is pretty cool. Now, for, I gotta guess, was Porter Martone, because he's Porter Martone, but the highlight of this thing seems to have been our Swedish representative, Jack Berglund, a real standout, it seems, at this summer showcase, and Charlie was not complimentary of the Berglund draft pick when it happened. We know that, he got fitted for skates, and now maybe he's a little better because his skates fit, and he seems to be coming along. What did you see out of Berglund? How did he do at the showcase?
yeah. Amazing how that can happen. You get your skates fitting right.
It's unbelievable to think a guy could be a second round pick and one of his skates just didn't fit. Like, I don't know. I think he's got a pretty high ceiling.
It's such an unserious sport for real.
It's unbelievable.
Anyway, yeah, he's another guy who I think like we expected was going to have a pretty big tournament. Again, one of the returning players, older, a little more mature, has some experience playing against actual grown men, meaningful. But yeah, I mean, he I think even exceeded my expectations. He was I think tied for the tournament lead in points.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, just seemed to be everywhere in all of his games. Like he was getting a ton of minutes, top line center for Sweden, top power play, one of their top penalty killers as well, and just like was fantastic, honestly, like across the board. He's another guy who played more of a defense forward role last time around. This year, it seems like they're letting him play a little bit more offense. And yeah, I mean, combining with the fact that it seems like he's gained a step a little bit, he looks a little bit more mobile out there.
That was the big thing, is can he skate? And
Yeah,
I last time I skated, my skates were just a little loose. Haven't been able to tie them up in a while. It was the first time, and I felt like I've never skated before. I was like, "Oh my god, how is this possible?" And then I thought of the Berglund story, like, of course he can't skate. And the fact now maybe he's had some time to work on it, and like his equipment is correct. I am excited about seeing Jack Berglund in this tournament, because I think maybe his ceiling feels a little higher than it did a year ago, when it was, maybe it wasn't the best use of a second round pick. Maybe there was other directions, but he seems to really be improving his stock.
yeah, definitely still a work in progress. Like
Yeah.
to be clear, still kind of rough, still a lot to work on there. But I think this is the first time we're really seeing the pieces beginning to come together for him and kind of beginning to understand a little bit more of the logic behind that pick for the skeptics out there. So I'll take that incremental improvement any day.
It's all you can ask for. So, like, Martone is Martone, but would you say of all of the prospects, it was Berglund by far that stood out?
Yeah, comfortably.
That's great to hear. I'm looking forward to this year's tournament. Always do. World Juniors always a ton of fun. It's a great day on the internet when we can all just sit down after Christmas, watch these kids play, get real mad at, you know, like minors basically,
Yelling at teenagers
for
online. Yeah.
yelling at teenagers, yelling at their families. It's really, it brings everyone together around the holidays, which I appreciate. Maddie, I appreciate you taking the time to join us again very much. Thank you for take two here of your World Junior Summer Showcase. Make sure you read Maddie's article at allphly.com, where she gave a detailed description of each of the Flyers prospects that were at the showcase. Tell them where else to find your work, Maddie.
Over on Broad Street Hockey, still doing a little bit of everything over there.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that's it.
Keeping Broad Street Hockey alive. That's what I like to hear. You and Kelly doing excellent work. Looks like Thomas is doing good stuff too.
Yeah.
Stick it up for Matvei Mishkov when they don't name him a top 30 player 5 years from now. Not on our watch. I appreciate that. All right, Maddie, thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend.
You too. Thanks for having me.